Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello again. Come on in, come on in. This is your show host, Maxine Pearl Phillips. Tonight, I will continue to talk about my road to recovery from the heart failure. But before I get started, let me say this: level less people succeeding is all about you succeeding on your terms because level less is success without levels. We want you to understand that this is a new movement so that you can achieve and continue to move forward in your career, in your profession, and the things that you love and your purpose and passion without feeling as though you must climb or get higher and higher and higher. But instead, when you have the mindset, that levelless mindset, it's all about success without levels. You continue to be successful because we help you to discover your abilities and strengths, to define what success looks like for you, to design a strategy, a blueprint, a roadmap so that you can achieve those successful goals, and then deliver with the standard of excellence. Deploy. All right. So now what I'm going to do is the producer has already brought up the PowerPoint. And so let me move forward and talk about what tonight's show is all right. Look like we might be having there's some weather going on in this area. So if I disconnect, then you'll understand it's technical difficulties due to the weather. So let me move forward with the show in case we disconnect, and then that way, well, at least we have the show going. But first of all, let me thank the producer, Mark Lee, which is Pod TV, and all that he does behind the scene in order to make the show productive and continue to move forward. He has to work a lot of miracles in the background, ladies and gentlemen, in order for us to appear on Pod TV, Roku, YouTube, and also stream to over 2 heart failure. So that's what tonight's session is all about. For the last 2 weeks and 3 weeks, hey Antonio, thank you for tuning in. I mean, that is my gem right there. Antonio is a painter, he's an artist, and we'll be talking about him. And I am going to have Antonio on the show in October because he is doing some phenomenal things, ladies and gentlemen. And I want him to be able to share these phenomenal things that he's doing with the world. But tonight's show, I'm going to continue to talk about my road to recovery from heart failure. And I want to share with you some of the things that I put in place in order for me to get to where I am. Now, according to the doctors and according to the reports and the tests and all the blood work, the heart has returned to normal. Yay! I'm grateful and I'm thankful, and I appreciate all of you praying for me along the way. You know, it's always good to have a support group, and we're going to talk a little bit about that has helped my recovery. So, for the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about my near death experience. In this near death experience, let me see if I can bring this up just a little bit and make sure that it's on the full screen. Hold on just a second for me. All right, let's see.
While you're getting that adjusted and everything, Maxine, I was just going to share with you because we had talked about it earlier and everything. I went and visited him for the second time and everything, but Dad is no longer in the hospital. He's now in a rehab facility. So he's actually over at the one here in Durham. They've been doing some of what you talk about, which is that work of getting he's actually, I took him some of those stress balls, so he's got I think three of those, including one that is my alma mater, Marquette, that is a stress ball, and then I think there's just two regular tennis ones that I might have that are kind of like from the bank community and all along those lines. But they've also got him doing therapy and everything, and he may go home in another week or two and everything, and then be able to do uh, get some home care with the CNA or whoever they give him, and all along those lines. But the
Right.
recovery is going nicely, and I know that you are a person that's had recovery, as this show talks about. So I just wanted to share that with you, that is going really well, and that it does seem to be going well, and they are quite pleased. They think that he's not your average person in the sense of how quickly he's been able to recover, because he's even been able to, after they gave him a better mattress, because mattresses are important. After they gave him a better mattress and a
Yes.
better kind of bed to sleep in, he's been able to get in and out between the recliner and the bed, and to adjust, and even to sometimes even get to the restroom and everything along those lines without necessarily always needing the. He still needs some help, but not as much help as he probably needed in the early part of this process.
Well, look at that, look at that, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We have another story to share with you on someone who else is recovering. And that's what we're all about. Yes, I can share the information about what I've done, but I also want to hear from you. So if you have individuals or you yourself are recovering from a situation, reach out to me on the Maxine at levelusco.com, and let's have a talk. Let's see what we do and get you on the show. And also, if you're watching tonight, I want you to write in the word recovery in the comment box so that I can know that you're recovering from a situation or a family member is recovering from a situation. And talk to me. Engage in the conversation, ask questions, and share things that you've done along the way as I'm sharing with you. So look at Mark. Look at his father. He is recovering. And listen, physical therapy is going to be one of the things that we talk about that helps with recovery. And also, family and friends supporting you along the way is huge and important for recovery as well. So, Mark, thank you so much for sharing your father's update.
No, and you mentioned that, and one of the things that I have been loving, that I've been sharing with my mom, is that, as I like to say, love comes at different times in different places and everything. So my parents are not together; they've been divorced for a number of years. But Dad's lady love, who has been together, I want to say even longer than he was with my mom and everything, she does
Uh-huh.
a daily digest. So one of the things that she does in order to, what you just say, keep family in the loop, is she sends out a daily digest, so we have an understanding of what's going on, how it's going on, and what's taking place in that sense. So this keeps the family in touch. It lets people know how things are going, and it is definitely something that is definitely much appreciated in just that sense of giving an understanding of how the recovery is coming, and all along those lines. So I know I'm in that loop. My brother's in that loop, and there are a number of people that will give hearts, that will give quotes and everything along those lines. So, like, for example, without going into the full details, she was talking about how yesterday she had needed to catch up on her tax extension. So while she was working on her tax extension, certain family members, including her two of her grandkids, as well as her son, or that would be her son, and her daughter-in-law, had come by and spent time with, as she likes to call him, or they like to call him, Papa Jim, who responded to the smoothies and the Thai pad that he had had, and everything, that particular food dish, as well as a good conversation and some of the show and tell from one of her grandkids and everything. So, but that's something that we get on a regular basis, where we learn how things are going, whether that's with the therapy or whether that's a number of other things. And she sends those out at least once a day, sometimes twice a day, depending on what's going on, so we can get a sense of how the recovery is happening.
Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that was a platinum nugget that was just dropped. Daily digest is what I heard Mark talk about that the family is doing. And that's a way of keeping everyone informed and in the loop. I love that. I'm going to adopt that. And ladies and gentlemen, I suggest you adopt it as well, because you're talking about open communication and keeping communication going. This is one of the ways to do it. A daily digest. I know some people call them a little mini letter or mini notes, or you can journal and you can send their journal prompts out, just little quick notes. But I love this daily digest, Mark. I think that's a really neat idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, write that platinum nugget down and
Yep.
start.
Yep. I'll let you go back to the rest of your presentation. But yeah, like I said, after I mentioned that to mom and everything, and I know that even talking to dad, that digest has been shared in people's circles. And actually, Linda, who's my dad's other half, said that she actually enjoys hearing that people are sharing it to people that aren't necessarily directly in her circle and everything. So the fact that I'm sharing it with my mom, she's actually finds that to be a wonderful thing because that way my mom, who was her, that was his first wife, and he never married Linda. Linda and him have just been a long time relationship and everything, but they're able to keep in the loop, even though she's not. They are still the best of friends or good friends and everything. So since she still considers my dad her friend, she's able to keep in the loop because I forward what I get to her.
Oh, that's so nice. And keeping individuals in the loop is a form of communication. And I always say, make every connection count. And the way to make this connection count with the family and friends is to have something as a daily digest, have something as a note that you're sending out, or a little, what they call it, group email that you're sending out, or you have a group chat that you're sending information. That's another way of keeping everyone informed. But the most important thing is to keep everyone informed. You know,
Right.
that's what's essential because if some family members are out of the loop or friends are out of the loop, they have no idea or no way of knowing how they can be of assistance to you. So
Right.
do reach out. The other thing, Mark, that you were talking about is sharing. Some of this daily digest is being shared. And this is the reason why I'm doing this podcast. The type of podcast that I'm doing for the next couple of weeks is talking about my heart failure because I found out that when I talk about the heart failure, I find out that other people have also encountered it. And so we're able to feed off of each other and bounce information off of each
How you doing?
Mhm.
You all right?
other, help from the medical side of it as well.
Hey, just really quickly, and then I'm gonna let you go back to the presentation. Sorry to be taking up some of your time and everything, but a question is, and something that Dad brought up is that as we get older, because even when I was talking to my friend Brett, who just recently turned, I think it was this month, he turned 66 or something like that. Our runway ahead of us is much shorter than the runway that we left behind us, and all along those lines, depending on what's going on with life and everything. So sometimes we have to have difficult conversations because even when I was talking to Dad, he was saying, I know this is not a conversation that you want to talk about, but at some point when I do go home, I want you and Malik, which is my younger brother, to come to the house to look over things and decide what y'all might want or what you might not want and everything, because that's something that is one of those difficult conversations that we have to face as we get older. Because there are things that I know for a fact that there are some books that he has that I would probably be things that I would want to keep, and some of the paintings, because my dad is a artist and more of a photographer, but some of his artwork that I might want to keep, and all along those lines and everything, and even some figurines because he's got like a kind of figurine thing that he does some stories around called Bamboo Turtle, and I forgot that there were multiple ones, so we'll probably wind up taking. Maybe I'll take a couple of the Bamboo Turtles, and Malik will take a couple of the Bamboo Turtles and everything. But there are other things that we might not want to necessarily save and everything. But that was something that he brought up, and not like he's trying to go anywhere anytime soon. But it's as we
Right.
get older, that's those frightful conversations that we have to have and everything. And he was just saying that at some point, because he's definitely saying that he wants to streamline whether he's going to be here for another 5 years or another 30 years or another 40 or 50
Oh,
years.
yeah,
We
that's
just want
right.
to streamline what he is existing. So he wants us to figure out what we might want to keep or save, whether it's because we just want it now or because we want it after he is gone.
But that's, what, I do have a show, an episode that's going to be coming up shortly with Olivia. Miss Olivia is going to be talking about, your I call it pre-preparation. And that's bringing family members in and talking about some of the things that you desire, that in the event that you're no longer on this earth, what needs to transpire.
Right.
And so I do have an episode that's going to be coming up shortly and talking about exactly that. Pre-planning is so it's essential.
Yep.
So,
And Dad's right. It is something, and I'm gonna back off after I say this, but it is something that we all want to live forever. We all want to live, maybe not forever, but definitely live a long life. And a lot of us do not necessarily want to deal with the inevitable, but we are humans and we are mortals unless we discover something like the fountain of youth.
right.
And I don't think anybody's
Yeah.
discovered it as of yet. and everything, or unless a miracle happens and somehow we all make that eventual final journey that God promised, I think, in the Bible to the eternal souls and everything. But that's not something that has transpired as of yet, and it doesn't seem like it'll be transpiring anytime soon. So knowing that we are mortal beings, we've got to deal with mortal situations.
Yeah, and you know what I call that? That's one of the reasons why I say career is a lifetime and life is a project, ladies and gentlemen, because since we were 5 or 6 years old, people have been asking us, what do we want to be or do when we grow up? And even, once we retire, they're going to say, well, what are you going to do now that you're retired? But one of the things you have to put in place is that pre-preparation. And like I said, I have an episode that's going to be coming up, and I will announce when that's going to take place. But Miss Olivia, I mean, she has a phenomenal package of information and what you to complete. And once you complete that information and you have everything laid out, that's a pre-planning for you and how you want things to be executed should something happen to you. So we'll talk about that a little bit later in another episode. But for tonight, I'm going to be talking about what are some of the things that I put in place during this recovery period. I'm also going to be talking about lifestyle changes and your mental health, because as you're going through a situation, whether it's sickness, whether it's death, whether it's loss of a job, loss of a spouse, you still have what is called that lifestyle changes that you're going to make, as well as what is your mental state and how is it affecting you. And I share with you how it affected me while I was going through the heart failure. And then I'm going to be talking about remembering family members. I want to share with you some family members. And September is a very difficult month for me. And the reason why it's very difficult is I'll share with you some of the family members who are no longer here. And the month of September, a lot of them have fallen into that particular month. So my heart is very tender. It's tender anyway because you lose someone, but it's really tender when you lose a lot of them in the same month, or they have the same birthdays in the same month. So we'll talk about the Thompson's family. And that's where I'm from before I married the Phillips. And then I'm going to be talking about future aspirations. What does life look like after heart failure? What does life look like as you're moving forward? What does your life look like because you've encountered challenges and situations? And some of the things that I've done is the things you could very well do. And if there are other things that you're doing, share them with me, because I love to hear about them. We don't all know it, don't know it all. And let's be lifelong learners, and let's be open to learn and to listen and actively listen. So as I move forward, here are some of the steps that I use to the recovery. Let me make sure it's moving. All right, let me make sure. Okay, there we go. All right. So I am a believer, and I believe in a higher power. And so that's one of the things that I did was pray. I had to pray daily for strength, pray daily for breath. And I also asked other people to pray for me. And we had a whole prayer circle going. And, it depends on what your beliefs are and how you want to do it. But with me, it was all about prayer, because prayer changes things. And I'm a witness, and I've seen it over and over and over in my life. So I truly believe that in prayer. Then we have believe. When I said I truly believe, you can have people to pray for you and you can pray for yourself. But do you believe? Do you believe that it works? Do you believe even in yourself? Do you believe that you know your body, that you can talk to the doctors about what your situation is and how it has affected you? And so that's one of the recovery methods that I used. I wrote down everything about my body that I was experiencing after I had experienced it, and was able to write, was able to sit up. And at one point during this heart failure, I couldn't hardly breathe. I could not sit up. I could hardly roll over. I couldn't help myself. I had to have someone to come and assist me. And so there's a lot of things that you have to go through. And I'm going to talk about the mental side of it too, because it affects you mentally as well. And then the faith. I had faith to know that prayer worked. I had faith to know that I believe in myself. And Antonio said, yes, I believe. And yes, Antonia, I can't wait to have you on my show as well for you to share all of the great things that you're doing. But as I go into the steps of recovery, and like I said, you too can do some of these things as well. It's not a one size fits all, but it is a let's see. Okay, Antonia's dialing in from South Dakota. Wow, that's nice. One day I'm gonna visit that the South Dakota. But I also had to seek medical attention. I believe in holistic ways of healing myself, and I've used a lot of holistic methods and herbs and meditation and those things of source. But it came a time where what I did was no longer working. And so I had to actually seek medical attention. And I delayed the medical attention because I am in a situation where my body rejects preservatives or additives or chemicals, whether it's in food or whether it's in medication. So I sort of delayed going to the emergency room because I felt that if I had gone to the emergency room, that they would have given me the same medications that they give everybody else. And I was not in a situation to truly advocate for myself. And so, therefore, I delayed it until I had the strength in order to go to the hospital, go to the doctor, and be able to talk to the doctor because life happens. My children were, one was out of the country and one, just could not get to me. So life happens. But I'm thankful that I had my grandson here and he was able to help me along the way. But I had to seek medical attention. And the reason why I have this on this slide is because I want you to understand that when you know your body better than anyone, you know what condition you're in. You know how extent it is. I knew that I was in a crisis situation. I only delayed it for a couple of days. And when I got the strength, I was able to get myself to the doctor. And by doing that, I had written down the things that had happened, had transpired, what I had eaten, how my body had been affected. And therefore, the doctor was able to start moving forward and do some things that needed to be done in order for me to start recovering. Now, did it happen right away? Of course, the recovery did not. This happened to me on March the 14th. Here it is, September the 30th. And I would say probably August the 15th, between August the 15th and August the 30th, is when I finally started feeling like I'm out of danger. That was almost 3 months, ladies and gentlemen. And so your body has to take time to heal. So we're going to talk about some of the other recoveries and building your resistance and being resilient. And then I had to follow the regimen. Well, not only did I go to the doctor and seek medical attention, but what good does it do you to go there if you're not going to listen to what they have to say? Well, I had to listen to it and I had to evaluate how is this going to affect me? I had to evaluate the medications that they were recommending that I take. I had to follow the regimen that they wanted me to follow. And when I found myself following that regimen after they changed my medications, then that's when I started finding myself recovering. It was a slower process than I had anticipated, but after all, it was heart failure. And the heart failure was all about an irregular heartbeat. And that irregular heartbeat was beating so fast that it affected my breathing. So my lungs were compromised. And then it affected me being able to sit up. I couldn't sit up. I could not walk without wheezing. And so it took its toll on my body. And it takes a while for you to recover. And then when you follow the regimen, you have to follow it according to what they prescribed for you. I know we're going to give each other a lot of suggestions, ideas, options, and things of that nature in order to do. But take all of that into consideration as you're listening to your doctor and as you're listening to your body. Even though some medications that you receive from the doctor, your body might reject it as well. So you have to be in tune to your body so that you're able to share that information and do the follow up with your doctor. So those are some of the steps that I put in place as far as helping my body get to the road to recovery. But there was something else that took place in there. I had to do a lifestyle change. And there are 3 lifestyle changes I want to talk about this evening. The first one is the mental health. And the next one is going to be social support. And then the last one is going to be fostering a healthier life work balance. Notice I said life work balance and not work life balance. So I want you to write that as a platinum nugget because you want to have a healthier life work balance. So let's talk about the mental health side. You have the emotional resilience here. This is where I started feeling anxiety. I started panicking. I'm sure I made my heart, not necessarily made the heart palpitations worse, but I think I probably caused the breathing to get worse. And the reason for that is because when you start breathing really, really fast, that's not good. You need to take deep, slow breaths, and so that the body, the oxygen can go throughout the bloodstream and from your lungs to your heart, and it moves through the blood. And I was like panicking because I could not breathe. And what do you do when you can't breathe? You try to breathe faster so you can breathe more. But that did not help. The best thing to do is take a deep breath until you get the medical attention that you need. And then depression can easily set in if you're not careful because it's like, whoa, me. Why me? Why is this happening to me? And the whole thing of it is that I knew that it was a preservative. I knew that it was something that I had eaten that caused this. I just could not get the body rid of it fast enough before it took its toll on my body. And when it took its toll on the body, it was all about swelling. My toes had started swelling, my feet had started swelling, my ankles, and then all up my legs. And that way I knew I had too much fluid in the body. That's when I really started getting a little bit anxious and making sure that I could get myself to the doctor. And then you start worrying about your health. Well, who does not worry about their health when you're ill or when you're going through something, when you've been diagnosed with something? So these are some of the lifestyle changes that had to happen when it comes to the mental side of us. And it can happen to any of us at any time when we're going through these situations. And that's why it's so important that when we have these challenges, that we also understand how do we rebuild resilience. How do we rebuild resilience? And so one of the things that we have to do in order to rebuild resilience is to have that emotional resilience. That's where you have support. Mark was talking about the daily digest that he and his family does, and that they share, and that the family is around them and they're supporting them. And you want that support. You need that support. But not only do you need the family support, but you also need your friends' support. And so, friends, trust me, calling and checking in on the person that you're concerned about, the person that you've not seen for a while, the person that attended every meeting and now they're no longer attending, call and find out what's going on. How can you be of assistance? Yes, we belong to these associations, we belong to these groups, but then we're no longer there. Then who's concerned about us? Oh, yeah, I mean, I was Johnny go, Johnny go, Johnny go, trying to make every meeting, every association, everything that everybody was having. But then once this happened to me, I had to totally shut down. I had to totally shut down and I was not able to go anywhere. And still today, I'm not able to attend a lot of those functions. And that's because my body gets very tired. I am still in the recovery mode, even though the heart has recovered. The body's stamina still has to recover. So I have to, adjust to that. And then sometimes that can be difficulty if you are a go-itis person, if you're an extrovert and you like going out, talking and being with people. So that can present a problem in itself sometimes. So that's why it's important that when a person is not showing up, reach out and call them and just say, hey, I'm just checking in on you. There's nothing wrong with that. They need that support. And then I talk about journaling. This is where you can have that daily digest. This is where you can write down your thoughts. This is where you can write down what you're experiencing and what your body is going through. And not only that, with journaling, journaling is therapeutic. I know for me, it's therapeutic. I've been journaling ever since I was the age of 11. 11. I didn't know that's what it was called. I thought it was called my diary, or the one that you put the lock and key in, and then you hope your parents don't find it because you got all this information in it that you don't want to talk to them about. But journaling is therapeutic, and there's a way to journal. There's how to journal, when to journal, what should you journal about. There's no right or wrong way when it comes to journaling. And I want you to go to my website. I want you to go to levelisco.com, www.levelisco.com, and you're able to get an ebook on journaling. And that's my gift to you to get you started in journaling, because trust me, those answers that you're looking for, if you journal what's in your mind and put it on paper, I guarantee you that you're going to find that either you've already accomplished it, or you're in the process of accomplishing it, or you've gotten an answer to what it is that you need to do. But when you journal, don't read it right away. Just wait a couple of weeks or a month or so, and then come back and read what you've written, and you'll see all of that information has been woven through what you have written. Then there's meditation. Oh, when you close your eyes and you take the deep breath. As a matter of fact, I want you to close your eyes right now. Close your eyes, and I want you to take a deep breath, but count to 5 as you're inhaling. And I want you to hold it. And I want you to exhale it to the count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try that one more time. Inhale to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale to the count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you centered? How do you feel? You feel relaxed? Because it's 7 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, or 7:30. You've been hustling, bustling at work, getting home, maybe kicking your shoes off, sitting in the lounge chair or your favorite chair. But now it's time to breathe, to inhale and exhale. And then meditate. If it's nothing but for 5 minutes, just meditate. Just sit there and just sit in the quietness, the stillness, and meditate. That also, it could be a lifestyle that you implement in your daily activities. But what about when you listen to music? Sometimes the soothing music, sometimes the jazz music, sometimes the religious music. It depends on what you have a taste for and what is best for you. But listen to some calming music if you possibly can, to help the body to relax. So these are some of the lifestyle changes that I do in order to have helped my heart to repair itself or to recover, because that doesn't help it to repair, but what it does do, it helps you to calm yourself down. And then yoga. I like doing yoga because it's nice and slow, and you can do it to quiet music. And also, yoga strengthens your inner muscles. You have your aerobic that strengthens the outer muscles of the body, but yoga strengthens your inner muscles, the ones that you can't see, the ones that you can't necessarily always feel. But when you do it in a slow motion, and it takes time to move, and you're not overexerting the heart as the heart is recovering. Again, these are some of the things that I've done in order to help me go through the recovery process of this heart failure. You have to decide what's going to work best for you. And you also have to have a conversation with your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I don't profess to be a doctor, But what I'm sharing with you are some lifestyle changes that has helped Maxine. And I wanted to share with you, and then you decide what you'd like to incorporate, if any, and then always have that conversation with your doctor to make sure that that is the best regimen for you. So those are some of the lifestyle changes. And there's more, but these are just a few that I'm going to talk about this evening. Then there is the social support that we talked about that I mentioned earlier. Antonia says, Amen. Antonia, did you do that breathing? How did it feel? Anyone? How did you feel after you've done that breathing exercise that I just shared with you? I hope you feel relaxed. I know I do. But what about that social support that I talked about? Maintain a strong social support network. Yes, you can't call them, but you can have your family members to put a post out there on your social media. I know when I was going through what I was going through, and when I was able to at least sit up, I announced what my body had encountered so that others could know where I was and how I was doing and how could they support me. And the number one thing that they supported me with was prayer. So you have to let individuals know how they can support you. And then connect with family, friends, and your associations. And you could use that daily digest. You could use a journal. You could use a note. You could use a quote. There are different ways that you can communicate to let individuals know where you are, what you're doing, and as a follow up. And again, as I indicated, share your experience with others. And by me sharing this experience with others, I have had others to contact me to let me know that they too, not necessarily have gone through heart failure, but they've gone through some health crises. And by me sharing what has happened to me, helps them to understand how best to communicate with their doctors, how best to journal the information, and then how best to look at some of the things that they can do that can help them recover from their situation. There's no one size fits all, and there's no one stop shop. But what you have to do is create the regimen that's going to work best for you and then follow it. And if you can, sure, share it with me so I'll know what it is that you're doing, because it could be something that you're doing that could also help me. Then there is the healthy the heart healthy lifestyle. Now, I mentioned life work balance. I couldn't do any work. It forced me to relax. It forced me to sleep. And sleep is one of the things that the body needs in order for it to repair itself. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting sometimes they say 6 to 8 hours of sleep? Or are you sleeping 2 and 3 hours and then you're waking up? So there's some things that you need to write down that's happening to you so that you can have that conversation with your doctor and they can evaluate what's going on. The other thing is movement. You want to, when you can get up and move. At one point, I could not move. I could hardly even turn over without having difficulty breathing. But there was a point in time after 3 months that I was able to move. And so there I was able to get up, but I couldn't do no strenuous exercises. I had to do yoga, something very, very slow, a slow pace until you can increase it. But you also can just move your arms. You can move a toe. You can move a foot. You don't have to do anything strenuous. You just do something that's going to work for your body at that given time. And if you're unable to move your arm, then perhaps a family member can move it for you. And then that could be therapy that you can, be a part of, physical therapy. So that's something to take into consideration as well. Then you have the healthy food choices and a balanced diet. I mean, I can't talk about the healthy food choices. For the last 3 weeks, I've talked about the preservatives, I've talked about chemicals, additives, and I've even shared with you how to read the labels in order to know how much of everything, what is a food serving, what type of ingredients are in there, carbs, sugars, proteins, what type of vitamins. We've talked about all of that. But you have to make the healthy choices. I ingested something that I had not eaten in 10 years. I prepared the meal myself. But I thought that since I hadn't had it in 10 years, I would be okay. But that was not the case. My body rejected it then, and it still rejected it. And this time, it nearly cost me my life. So you have to look at those healthy food choices for yourself. What's going to work for you? What works for you might not work for the next person. And when I say balanced diet, I'm not talking about go on a diet. I'm talking about looking at proteins, having carbs, having fruit and vegetables with your meal so that you can have a balanced meal. When I say diet, that's what I'm talking about, a balanced meal within the diet plan that you're eating every day. You have to decide if it's going to be plant-based or if it's going to be whatever, low carbs, low sugar. You have to decide what works best for you. But what I will share with you is that whatever you decide that you are going to use and going to do, make sure that it is balanced. Make sure that you're talking to your medical professionals, your doctor, nutrition, or someone of that nature so that you can understand that you're getting the right vitamins and nutrients, enzymes, and all of that into the body, and that your pH in the body is balanced. And your water intake is the amount of water that you need so that you can keep your body hydrated. All of this information is so important in order for the recovery process to happen. If we do one extreme and don't have a balance, then it could cause something else in the body to start overreacting or not reacting enough. And then sleep, make sure that you get the necessary sleep that you need, because that's how the body repairs itself. As we move on, I want to talk about some family members that I like to remember. I started talking about that September is a very difficult month for me, and I sort of like get choked up when I talk about this. But these family members that have birthdays this month is my sister Cleo. She had her birthday was September the 17th, and she died at the age of 52 from a massive stroke in the center of her brain. Why it happened, we don't know. It was just all of a sudden it happened. And you don't know, because sometimes there's what we call silent killers. The different illness in the body. We don't know what's happening to our body all the time. So that's why it's important that you know your body better than anyone. And then my mother died in 2013, February 2013, as a matter of fact. And my sister Jackie, which is right underneath me, she died in October of 2013. And then my baby sister Cleo died in January of 2014. So within less than a year time, we had 3 family members to die, which is definitely devastating to a family, no matter who dies and when they die. But when you have them dying back to back, it really causes your heart seem like it's constantly open and it never has an opportunity to heal. And then in September of August, right, so September 22, we buried one of our older sisters, Esther, and that was devastating to us as well. And then my mother's birthday is September the 29th, like yesterday. And so that was very difficult when it comes time to remember loved ones and their birthdays. I'm sharing this information because when you having a health issue, all of these things rush back to your mind. This is where your mental mindset can play tricks on you if you're not careful. And this is one of the reasons you have to make sure that you have that support group, that you have that balance, the diet, that you're sleeping properly. Because if not, when it's very stressful like it is now, not only are you sick and you're going through a crisis situation, but then you start remembering your loved ones and all the thing and them being gone at one given time. I mean, it takes its toll on one. It takes its toll on you. And so I'm only sharing this with you so that you understand that no matter who you are, we need the support. No matter who we are, we need the sleep. No matter who we are, we need a balanced diet. No matter who we are, We need to look at what our lifestyle changes are and start making them accordingly. So that's why I wanted to share this with you today, is because yes, my heart is tender. I go through this every September. It never gets easy, but I manage to move forward, but it's never easy. And that's one of the reasons why you have that family and friends support. And so please reach out to your loved ones all the time. And as a matter of fact, I think I wrote about a month or so ago, say, I love you. Let them know you love them. That might be the only time they hear someone tell them that they love them, or give them a hug once you see them. The human touch is so important. So I wanted to remember the loved ones right here. Now, the last loved one, not the last one, but the next loved one that I want to remember is going to be my late husband, Greg. And he died in 2010. And I was a caretaker for Greg for 7 years. Being a caretaker is a very serious responsibility. As a caretaker, if you're not careful, you can become sick because you're not taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of the loved one. So I bring this up because about a week or so ago, I had Miss Thorne on here, Pastor Thorne on here, and she talked about being a caretaker. I had a Yukosa on about probably about maybe 6 to 8 months ago. She talks about caretaking, and she's even written a book on caretakers. So caretaking is very important because, like I said, we're not careful. We don't even take care of ourselves. And that's what happened to me at one given point when I was taking care of my husband. And come to find out, here I am taking care of him, and I'm not taking care of myself. And I ended up with type 2 diabetes. But it was an onset of stress. It was not an onset of overeating. So we have to understand what's causing the illness, because a lot of time people think diabetes is overeating, and it's not always overeating. Some illnesses are not always overeating. It could be depending on what's going on in your life at that given time and how stressful things are. And that's what was the cause of my diabetes, was the onset of stress, was the onset of the type 2 diabetes. But what I can tell you is that once I understood that, I got that under control as well. So that I'll talk about that at a later date, because November is diabetes month. But I wanted to share with you about, Greg and the things that he had gone through when it came to the type 2 diabetes, and the fact that we were with the American Diabetes Association and spreading the word. But he also was a type of person who believed in giving back. And he was so supportive of me and the ministry and the work in which I'm doing in order to give back and to help individuals to understand their God-given abilities. And so he was so supportive of me getting started in the business, but he just didn't live long enough in order to see the business become a reality. So as I started talking about some of future aspirations, this is where we started. I stress the most: take control of your health. Take control of your health, and it will help you take control of your life and your career. As a life and career coach, as a career development and professional development consultant, this is what we do here at Levelist. We help individuals to understand what is the career path that they're to choose when it comes to their own strengths, their own abilities. But remember, I said, career is a lifetime, but life is a project. And between our birth date and the date we leave this earth, we have those many projects going on. And one of the projects is going to be career development. That career development is for you to understand what should be your career path. You have to choose it according to, we would not, you don't have to, but what we instill and empower you to do is to choose a career path that complements your, what we call it, your abilities and your strengths. When you do that, you love what you do, and you do what you love. Then the other thing we look at is assessments. These assessments help you to understand, how do you select that career path? Which is the best profession for you in a career path? So medical could be your career path, but what about medical is it that you're going to use as far as the profession? It could be that you'll be a radiologist. It could that you'll be an anesthesiologist. It could be that you're a heart doctor. So there are different professions even within a career path, but it's critical and essential that you understand what of those complements your abilities and your strengths. And then we look at career selection. So once you selected the career, then we'll look at what profession you're going to go after. All right, so let's talk about professional development, because career is one thing and professional development is something totally different. They are not the same. They do complement each other, and they all work together, but they're not the same. Because professional development is how you're going to develop yourself along the way. You've selected the career, you understand the profession that you're in, but then what do you need to do to continue to develop, to stay abreast of the technology, the trend, the things that's going on in your profession? And so this is what you do when it comes to workshops, when it comes to self-development, when it comes to attending conferences, joining associations. So that's what we do here at Levelist. We help you to understand, how do you put together that development plan for yourself? Are there areas of challenge that you see yourself wanting to be promoted, but you're not sure how to go about it? And let's look at the development that's needed in order for you to be positioned yourself. So when an opportunity presents itself, you are chosen for that. Your advancement take place. You understand your strengths. You understand the values that you're going to bring to an organization. And so that's what we do there. And then we look at the workforce. How do we position you in the workforce? What's the best work environment for you so that you can use your strengths and you can be appreciated? Your strengths can be actually recognized and they want you there for the strengths that you're bringing. The other thing we do is resume branding. That resume branding is so essential. So after you understand the career path, you've chosen the profession. Now you want to decide, am I going to be an entrepreneur? Am I going to work for an organization? What is it that you're going to be doing? Are you going to be a freelance? How are you going to work your profession? But no matter which profession you decide to go into, you should always have a resume. And that resume need to be able to brand and show your brand. And in showing your brand, that means, what are your strengths? What are your values? What are your achievements? So that the person that's reading your resume can get a feel for who you are. So it's essential that you brand yourself with your resume. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves here at Levelist, is to help you do a brand resume. You can easily go to our website, and we have we call it extraordinary resumes, from ordinary to extraordinary. And then that's a part of branding yourself. And in branding yourself, one of the things that we do is, not only do you create a resume that brands you, but you learn how to keep it up to date. And then you also learn how to interview with that resume so that you can be that chosen candidate for the position. So in our branding resumes, you get 3 in 1. Not only the resume, but also how to maintain it, keep it up to date, and then how to interview from that particular resume. Now, who's going to give you that? Levelist does, because we're all about success without levels. And we know if this resume shows your brand, you're going to continue to be successful moving forward on your terms. On your terms. And then we have the coaching and consulting. And this could be individual. This could be group. This can be teams, intact teams. Because even intact teams need to understand, how do they best communicate with one another? Career is a lifetime, but life is a project. And within that project, you have team projects. And in it, within a team project, you need to understand how do you communicate with one another. And so with levelers, when we come in and we work with those intact teams, not only do you understand your abilities and your strengths, but you also understand how to communicate with each other based on your communication style. So there's so many different things that we put in place when it comes to career development, professional development, and then coaching and consulting. I want you to reach out to me. I want to hear from you. In the comment box, put development. If you enjoyed listening to this career, put career. If you enjoyed listening to the professional development side of it, put professional. And if you know of someone who needs to be coached or even need consulting, then put coach and consulting in the comment box. That's my way of getting you engaged when it comes to communication, because some people are kinesthetic learners and they want to be able to do. All right, let's see if I have any questions. I think that's going to do it for the PowerPoint. And so let's see if I have any questions. So Mark, if you will, you could take the PowerPoint down for me. There we go. All right, let's see. Antonio. All right. Antonio is saying yes, he believed, and he's going to be waiting to be on the show again. And let's see who else. All right, we have okay, so talk to me about a little bit about the workforce development. Well, when it comes to workforce development, that is where we help you to prepare yourself for the workforce. So you could be just graduated from college with your degree, but you've not yet entered into the workforce, and you want to understand what's the best work environment for you. Well, we help you to develop a plan, a strategy to put in place. How do you go about looking for the right work environment for you? How to select it, and then how to make sure that your resume complements what they're looking for. So that's workplace. The other workplace could be that you're graduating from high school and you're trying to decide, we call those young professionals. So the young professionals are trying to decide, what career path should I go into? And that's where we help you to understand or to discover through that assessment. We help you to discover those abilities and strengths. And even those abilities and strengths, then we have to help you to define what success looks like for you. Because my definition of success is going to be totally different than your definition of success. There are no two alike. And so you need to understand, what does success look like for you? And after that, then we want to make sure that we design a strategy around what success is looking like for you, so that you can then discover what you need to be doing. If there are any professional development that you need to adhere to, that you want to add, that you'll be able to add that. And then we want to help you to understand, how do you deliver? You have to deliver with excellence. You must deliver, with quality. And then you deploy, but you deploy with accountability, and you deploy on time. So those are the things that we talk about. We talk about our 6Ds, the 6D process. So having talked this evening about my near-death experience, how and what I've done in order to assist in my recovery, the things that I put in place, the lifestyle changes that I made, being in tune to my body, going for medical assistance, and then following the regimen and understanding my balanced diet I need from my body, as well as getting the proper rest. So these are just some of the platinum nuggets that I wanted to drop and leave with you this evening, so that you can then decide which one of these you want to use and which one is going to be best for you. Because after all, I want you to know your body better than anyone. I don't want you to ever experience what I experienced. And that's one of the reasons why I'm sharing my near-death experience, and to help others not go through what I've gone through. Because there are tips and techniques in which you can do in order to put in place, so that you would be in tune to what's going on with your body. Let me see. Any questions? Okay, I think that's the last question. So as I do a close for this evening, I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for your prayers. And the last thing I want to do is I want to thank you for your giving. My niece and her roommates had a near death experience themselves on Labor Day when their house burned and they lost everything. And one of the roommates happened to be getting married on September the 21st. I want to say to you that with your generosity and that you gave, that we were able to move forward with the wedding, and the wedding was absolutely beautiful. And I will be posting pictures shortly. Matter of fact, tonight. I want to thank you, and I say to you, have a good evening. I believe in you, and I trust you believe in yourself. I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Yeah, Maxine, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Had
Okay.
to, had to take care of something with one of the customers. Had to be a nuisance because usually you're on top of things, and I'm just a little bit on the short side and everything. You don't have your monthly cash app payment, do you, this month?
I do. I can see you something. Yeah,
If you could, I'd appreciate that.
I sure will. I sure
All right,
will.
cool.
All right. How else? Everything else going good?
Everything's going good. Dad's recovery is going good, so that was very pleasant and everything. But yeah, everything's going well.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I
Yeah, that
spent
was
time
good.
on.
I was gonna say that was good information you gave at the beginning,
Oh yeah,
but I was able to still weave it all in and keep it going.
oh yeah. I just
Hmm.
felt that that would need to be heard because, like I said, I love getting those reports from Linda is her name and everything, but I love giving those, and then I forward them to mom when she likes getting them too and everything. So it's like you said, it helps keep you in the loop, which is always an important part of the conversation and everything. And I was just glad to go by there. It was funny because I think she had done some work with Eric Kelly, but I had run across this lady that I knew as an event planner. You probably know her and everything, but she's the concierge over there, and I had not seen her forever and everything. But when I looked on her pages, she's done a lot of events around the area. So do you know Sheila Franklin? Because Sheila Franklin is the young lady's name, but she was a concierge at Hillcrest.
Not by name. I might know about face,
That face, right? So
but not by
probably
name.
because she's probably yeah, 60 something, and she might be a year or two older than me because she might be closer because Brett's 66. So she might be like 62, 63, something like that.
Oh, okay.
But she's from I think she's originally from New Jersey, but I think she came down here to go to school and never left. I think she was married to a Day, so it might have actually been Sheila Franklin Day at one point, but I think it's just back to Sheila Franklin because I think she's divorced now.
Okay. All right. No, I don't remember her by name. Mm-mm. Yep. Well, okay then. I'm gonna get on off of here. It's been a
Well,
long.
yeah, I know that's right. You know, your buddy moved to uh, um, Spain, and so he's been airing from Spain the last week almost now.
He has actually moved.
He has actually moved.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to try to tune into one of his shows just so I can see him.
Yep, he's now moved to Spain. I think he said he's supposed to be back late
Oh,
August or mid August.
oh my goodness. Well, that means we don't have any more monthly lunches.
Well, they're trying to organize something for late October, early November because he's still coming back and forth. So he's still planning to do those because he's still, sure can. Just one?
I'll pay for last week too.
Okay, so that'll be cool. You like that. Review sale, and confirm the pay, and then just do what you got to do with the phone. Yep, it's worked.
All right, thank you, sir.
No problem.
Yeah, I know. I ain't know. You ain't even say nothing for me.
My fault.
You ain't even say nothing.
Did you need a text?
No. Sir,
Did you need an email
you can
check?
text it.
Okay,
Thank you.
no problem.
Have a nice day.
Do you say? See you next week. Sorry about that.
No, no problem, no problem. We're not online.
No,
Oh, you
you
know
know,
what it said? Live.
it's not live. Oh, maybe we are live. Did I not hit the end stream? I hit the end stream.